Hello, I'm Bookface. So, the term vampire, outside of the whole classic-y European kind of definition, is a bit of a loaded term, if I'm being honest. You see, with the worldwide usage of vampires in different cultures, maybe they drain blood, maybe they drain life force, maybe they drain body fat, maybe they drain mucus. No joke, I have seen all of these and then some. At least one that drains body heat. So, a vampire in world folklore, the globalized folklore, just kind of means anything that takes something from a person and they die. More or less. Or any varying combinations of details from the European vampire. It's a little complicated. Let's be honest, it's a buzzword so I can get more views on this video. Vampires, people know about that. But what people might not know about is the African vampire witches, which is a sort of specific kind of vampiric thing that I found while researching. Basically, magic and witchcraft oftentimes go hand in hand with sort of vampire-y draining the life from something else kind of thing. So now we're combining vampires and witches. Double the buzzwords. Double the views, definitely. Man, the YouTuber side of Bookface is really annoying. And for serious question mark kind of moment, I'll point out that when it comes to witches and people using witchcraft or whatever to turn into monsters, as is often the case in folklore, I feel like it really says something about how sometimes people are scarier than monsters in a sort of metaphorical sense. Big scary monster, it eat food, it eat you, it run around wild crazy. Okay, the first two I intended to say the way I did. Last part, I actually forgot my words. Long story short, we aren't scared of a chaotic, dangerous force. We are scared of something thoughtful and controlled and understanding that still wants to kill us, because that's where the danger really shows up. That was a rant that I did not intend to go into, but we're rolling with it because I think it ended up kind of funny. With all that out of the way, let's jump right in. Woo! Made my ears ring with that woo. First up, we have the Asaman, which is a creature from Dahomey myth. And this is a preemptive reminder for all of these. I don't know how to pronounce things, so keep that in mind. So basically the idea was that some person cast some specific spell and lost their humanity because of it. It doesn't exactly say what spell it is. Maybe it's just, you do magic too long, this is what happens. This is what happens when you fail the mystic vibe check. You turn into this thing. When it goes on the hunt, it'll remove its skin and turn into this glowing light. And the terminology for this, which varies, but in the resource I was looking at, which I guess I should probably actually cite the source instead of just saying my resource, this one, referred to it as a corpse candle, and it just really makes me laugh because this supernatural thing is a candle.
It's lemon scented!
It flies through the air to find prey and turns into an animal to leave after feeding, and it's in this animal form that it can actually be killed, otherwise it can't. My animal-loving instincts, they would betray me. No! Next up we have the Maye, which is a creature from Hausa myth. And it's often referred to exclusively as the Soul Eater. Now that might not have been as dramatic to you as it felt to me, but basically I've heard of the Soul Eater in various different forms and supernatural stuff. But it started by watching Supernatural. And I kept finding information on it, sure, but I was like, what is it called in its own language? I don't think Soul Eater is a Hausa word. And it just took me way too long to find it, when in reality I just kind of had to... I just didn't have the skills to actually find it, but I have upped my Googling skills to the max, and I can find some pretty obscure stuff. So technically I think that this word just generally applies to the term witch. So this is just like the term for a magic user, but I think this is the specific kind of witch, but maybe not. It's also notable that the term for witchcraft is maita, which is pretty similar. So I don't know what point I had there. It's just, this was complicated. That's my point. So these creatures have a rock in their stomach. And somehow this allows them to do the whole soul-eating thing, but I'm not exactly sure how that helps. I guess it's a magic rock. I figured that much out, but I don't know how a rock in the stomach helps you with that. Secrets of the Soul Eaters, I guess. Oh yeah, I remember the thing I was going to say in my rant. It's not the frickin' anime. Because yes, I found that way too many times trying to find information on this. It's really annoying. I know nothing about this anime, so I can't say anything on it. But man, the name is frustrating me. Anyways, these creatures would feed on a human soul, taking it out of the victim.
Yoink, this is mine now.
And then the victim would just slowly waste away in some weird, sick, catatonic kind of state. It was thought that it could take the form of a dog. But Soul Eater dogs were always weird in some way, like maybe they just didn't have a tail or they sounded really off. And it's just like, Scooby-Doo. Oh no. Scooby-Doo, what did you do? Okay, that was not in my script. When people would notice this weirdness, they would get so scared that their soul actually leapt out of their body, which is a very Looney Tunes-ish image, I'm not gonna lie, but if it works. I mean, this certainly would surprise me, but I'd more be disappointed that there's no cute dog for me to pet. I like dogs. They would trap the soul in a jar and hold onto it for a bit until they were ready to eat it. I know there's some Maye out there with just stacks of mismatched Tupperware. I'm calling you out right now. They were also thought to be able to steal souls through physical contact with the victim or the victim's shadow. And if you tried to avoid this, you'll find they're very skilled at shadow boxing. I don't even know why that joke came up. It's just shadows. Some people, however, thought that these creatures were people cursed by witches to require eating human souls just to survive. So a little bit of a plot twist there. Lastly, we have the Obaiifo, which is from Ashanti myth. It was believed to be shifty-eyed and food-obsessed, which, honestly, that's just me on an off day. It was a form of living vampire, so, not undead, that would drain children's blood or drain the vitality from crops. Not the corn! Oh, yeah, or the children. Save the children. Corn. It was also thought to like eating cacao beans. Wow, this thing has quite a varied palate. I'm going to be honest, this is more varied than my palate. Now, this creature distinctly is a human. Not like they look human or they can pass as a human, but they are actually a human. And the ability to become an Obaiifo isn't something that can be, like, given or learned. It's passed down like a genetic thing. I'd love to see if there's just, like, a Punnett square of, like, witch, not a witch. An Obaiifo could be exposed by confronting them with violence, which will cause their skin to glow. A simple assault saves the day again! Punch the supernatural beings! Punch them in the face! These creatures were thought to possibly have an Asan as a familiar of sorts. And if that name doesn't sound familiar to you, it's another African vampire of sorts, but more like bestial and monstery than human-ish. We're just gonna pass by that pun. Oh, and it's also thought that when it steals your life, it's a very slow and painful death, in case you needed to know that for some reason. It was also thought to be able to turn into an animal, but required the assistance of a magic substance made some fruits and vegetables. Mystical powers of V8. Not sponsored. And there we have 3 African vampire witches. My classifications are getting more and more specific as I go, and I love it. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!